Welcome to KT Quick Reviews, where I play a game for about an hour or so and tell you about it. Firstly, I would like to disclose that I got a key for this game via Keymailer for PS4 and was granted the opportunity to play it early, and I'm sure glad that I did. I had seen 63 Days on a few storefronts as well as through various sites, and it really did catch my eye with its setting and gameplay. 63 Days takes place in occupied Poland during the Second World War. You play as two brothers, going by the code names Youngster and Lynx, who have risen through the ranks of the local resistance and are now tasked with helping out other factions and rescuing prisoners and civilians, all while dealing with the occupying Germans. There's a fairly well laid out narrative, but for this video I only did the prologue, which is the tutorial, in Chapter 1, so I will be covering what happens in those while also discussing the gameplay mechanics. Firstly, I played this on console. If you do as well, please do the tutorial. There is a lot going on mechanically, so trying to figure out the controls on your own might end up being a bad time. 63 Days has a lot of staples when it comes to games of the same genre. There's a lot of areas where you can take your time planning out ways to deal with groups of enemies or just avoid them altogether. You can use the environment to your advantage by hiding in bushes or electrocuting a group of enemies when they get into a position. The thing I like the most, despite it being frustrating at times, is that Link and Youngster, due to their creative differences, are capable of doing tasks the other cannot. Lynx is a strong, surly lad who can do takedowns, while Youngster is able to put on enemy uniforms and disguises them. He's also able to throw a knife for long-range kills, as well as perform the more strategic tasks. I understood thematically why this was the case, but it did at times make it hard for me to actually know what to do with Lynx. I generally either stuck him in a corner or hid him in some bushes until I did all the things I needed with Youngster, especially in the first chapter. Chapter 1 sees our brothers, along with a small troop of fighters, breaking into an occupied airfield in order to take out the craft. Youngster is tasked with going in first, then distracts the guards at the gate so Lynx can get in. From here, you have to get a pair of bolt cutters so you can cut down a barbed wire fence to let in the others. After that, you take out some guards, go into the airfield, and blow up the aircraft. The fact so much is happening in real time can seem like a lot, but once you start understanding the enemy patterns and the environment, it becomes more manageable. Chapter 1 is pretty forgiving when it comes to your ability to just sort of skirt around enemies' line of sight. Especially since at certain distances, you can just crawl under it. The feature in this game I never really used, though I wish I did, was the planning phase. With planning, you're able to go into a mode that significantly slows down time so you can map out the actions of the two players. I generally use this when I need Lynx to take out a distracted enemy, or time one of Youngster's knife throws, or take out two enemies at once without causing a scene. The one thing I would like to point out that was an issue is pathing, especially between different elevations. There are certain terrain interactions that require Lynx to boost a Youngster up to a higher level. When this happens, as you move around, sometimes the cursor would assume that I was on the first level and he would start to run to where he could drop down. This happened a bunch of times while I was trying to retrieve my knife from the corner of a building. There would also be times where I would ask Lynx to go through the opposite door of his hiding spot and he'd run out of the other one and get spotted. The two will generally take the shortest path possible, which makes sense mechanically, but I'd unknowingly cause them to run into the line of sight of an enemy and would either have to hide or reload. Oh, and the ladder speed. I get climbing them is meant to be slow, but the fact they don't descend quickly is a bit frustrating. I'm not sure if I was just doing something wrong, but for the life of me, I cannot get them to move any faster. I also did play this game on an easier difficulty and scum save quite a bit. This is more so for the sake of time, but honestly, I do recommend it because there are a lot of opportunities for experimentation in certain scenarios. Want to try and distract this officer with a rock momentarily so Lynx can try to scale the ladder and choke him out? I tried it out 5 or 6 times, couldn't get it to work, but hey, it would have been cool if I did. And that's ultimately where the fun came from for me. I love any game that allows me to be stealthy but doesn't punish me horribly if I fail. Being able to push the boundaries of my disguise with Youngster to the point where I could kill around 3 or 4 enemies and still not get found out was extremely fun and rewarding. Oh, and there's also this combat mode where you can just run in guns a-blazing. I didn't use it until the game forced me to at the end of Chapter 1. It took me a few tries to get through this section because the sensitivity on the controls is a bit out of sorts, but yeah. I'm guessing you can just run through and take down every enemy in sight, but I like sneaking around and chucking a knife at guys. It's more fun that way. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing the rest of this game, and I hope I'm able to give it the time it deserves. Thank you all so much for watching. If you'd like this kind of content or even longer form videos, please be sure to subscribe. And if you want to help me out in other ways, I also have a Patreon. I'll see you all in the next video.